Well, it is another fantastic day here at Fun King Garage, and today, even though we are under a tropical storm watch, I thought it would be a great day to have another episode of the Fummins project. So, this? No, not today. I'm not working on this today. However, do keep an eye on the channel because this is getting featured. Now, I know it's been a minute or two since I've had a Fummins episode out, but the Fairlane came along, and then there was Hot Rod Power Tour, and there's still a ton of stuff to show you on the Fairlane, but I wanted to get back around to the Fummins project as well. I've had a lot of requests for it, so we're going to pepper it in there. It's got to get done, right? So, today we're going to complete the second half of the intake. I left you guys hanging during part one, which was back in March, by the way. So if you didn't catch that, it's in the playlist, and it's the very last one that's in there. It was released in March. But today we're going to wrap up that intake. Now, I do want to ask you to stay through the very end because I do have a special announcement coming up. Just wanted to get a quick shot of how I ended up mocking up the upper intake pipe. So this piece right here actually curved into the Ford intake. So I cut it through here and rotated it, not a full 180 degrees, but just enough to get it to kick back this way and be more straight and not have that downward turn that the Ford had from the factory. And then using a 90-degree elbow, silicone elbow. And I ended up cutting like 2 inches off of this side and 1 inch off of this side from the factory. And I'll put links to this in the description if you want this one. And then now I've just got some tack welds, so I'm going to pull this back out and do a full weld on it. Once again, that looks like garbage. Why? It was going so good on the other one. Oh, that looks like garbage. Looks like it might be welded all the way around though. So I am not a fabricator. Let me rephrase that. I'm not a professional fabricator. I'm not paid to fabricate things for customers. I'm a fabricator as far as I make things for myself. I actually enjoy it, but I want to give a tip to those out there that are also not professional fabricators. Well, and even to those who are professional fabricators, it's okay to fail. It's okay if once in a while you do something and it doesn't work, and you have to do it again. In my particular case, I built my intake to go from the air cleaner to the turbo, and it fit fabulously. I got the bungs welded on for the mass airflow sensors. Then I installed the air conditioning lines. They ran right through where my intake pipe was. So I had a choice. I could go have custom made air conditioning lines, which seemed like a terrible idea, or I could rebuild the intake pipe, which would be 1, cheaper, and 2, a little bit more fun. So here I am rebuilding the intake pipe. Alright, so now I'm just going to take a minute and I'll let it cool down, and then I'm going to go put it in the truck, double check it for fit before I do a full weld on it, and then once I know it fits, I'll burn her in. Alright, so I'm wearing a mask, so you're not really going to be able to hear me all that well, but I do want to say that I am by no means a professional TIG welder. I can just about count on one hand the number of times I've TIGged anything. So I'm new and I'm learning. My torch angle was getting a little rough there, so it was starting to do not good. I mean, I was starting to do not good. It wasn't the torch's fault. Alright, let's see how I'm doing. I don't know how well you'll be able to see that, but not great. I'm not stacking dimes. But it looks like it's got good penetration. I'm going to keep on. Definitely not a professional at this. Too much heat. Got that thing way too wide. Alright. Gotta have seat time, gotta have practice, right? These little strong hand magnets are pretty awesome. I'll throw a link to them in the description below. Pipe is also a terrible thing to learn with. Pipe is very hard to weld because of its shape, so might as well throw myself to the wolves. Too much heat. My heat signature is super wide. Way too much heat. This is only the third time I've ever welded mild steel with a TIG. I've done aluminum twice. So, there you go, that's one hand. Alright, so that started out a little better. I got kind of a glob back here. Started out a little better, but the heat signature got wider as we went. And I won't really know until I brush it. I'm going to keep on. I like to stop at the tack welds. Reposition. Yeah, see, that's built up a little better. It's got good penetration all the way inside though. Alright, that one I was letting my torch angle get a little out of control, but that actually looks like one of the nicest welds I've done on this whole pass. And I know a lot of you out there are laughing right now going, oh my gosh, this guy has no business welding. But that's not true. Everybody has business welding. Oh, blew a hole! Dang it! Made it almost all the way around without blowing a hole in it. And now I blew a hole in it. And it's got a big booger hanging right there. That's alright, we're gonna get her. I ain't mad. Just disappointed. Alright, I'm gonna start here and finish my weld, and then I'll clean that area up. See, I got a little cocky with myself because this was going so well. Now I blew a big hole in there. I know you can't really see it, but the hole is about the size of a garden pea. I really need to back that up with some copper. Let's take a quick recess. I'm going to figure out how to fix this. Okay, so what I did was I took a copper slug like this that I recovered out of a computer processor heatsink, and I've got it wedged up in there using some steel and some magnets, and now I'm going to weld that hole, and hopefully that copper will stop that weld from dropping in. Then I got to be really careful not to move anything that I'm not supposed to, so that I don't knock that slug out of there. Is it gonna work? Don't know. if you've done this another way or even this way and it worked for you, or you have a better way, that comment section is there for you. Over. This helmet is arc flashing me. It's not that old. I haven't used it that much. I think it's out of warranty, but I'm going to reach out to Yes Welder anyway. Apparently these are known to have this problem. Sadly, that patch doesn't look any worse than the rest of my welds. So 2 strong hand magnets, a piece of 1/4" steel, and a big chunk of copper. And it definitely blackened that copper. But that was the easiest I've ever fixed a hole, a blow through. Now there was a couple spots that I seen in here that did not look great. In fact, here's one of them right here. So I'm going to touch that up. There was one other one. I'm going to touch those up and then I'll hit it with a wire wheel. Much better, much better. I think I better fix that spot too. I'm thinking for an intake pipe though, this is pretty much fine. Alright, that's hot. I'm going to hit it with the wire wheel. We'll see how bad it looks. I can't tell. I'm going to have to get a light. There is a hole in the middle of where I fixed that blowout, and I'm not happy about that. So I am going to put one more little tack right there. Much better. So, is it the world's greatest weld? Nope. Is it the most beautiful TIG weld you've ever seen? Probably not. But you know what? I did it, and I'm proud of it. Now, I'll be able to clean all this up, get a coat of paint on it, get it back in the truck, and I can feel the heat off that. And finally my intake pipe will fit again around the air conditioning hoses. And then I just got to make a new block off plate for the airbox. And here it is installed. So I made this filler piece out of a piece of high temp plastic that's known as Ultim. And of course the hole is drilled down there instead of now where I need it. So I have some ABS coming. This Ultim is pretty expensive. So I got a piece of ABS coming and I'll make a new panel for there, but all my sensors will fit back where I had originally put them. Yes, those welds are terribly ugly. That was only the second time I ever welded on mild steel, and I welded 1/2 inch to 1/16, so that was a toughie. Am I proud? Nope, but they work. So one of these days I'll make a nice aluminum one. Can't get good at welding without seat time. I interrupt this episode to bring you a word from our sponsors. Okay, not really a word from the sponsors, but kind of a teaser on what's coming up. So, American Modified reached out to me and asked me if I would be interested in a sponsorship of a grille for my 2018 Dodge Ram. I thought about it for a little bit because, well, I don't own a 2018 Dodge Ram, but then it dawned on me that my friend Ron does, and it's been featured on the channel when we put side steps on it. So I let the company know that I didn't own that particular truck, but I could get with the owner and see if they were interested in doing it. They had no issue with this. They sent me an option of 4 different grills to choose from. I forwarded it on to him. He made the choice, and the company sent the grill. And this is the grill from American Modified that we will be installing in Ron's 2018 Dodge Ram. Now, I don't like doing unboxing videos. Nobody wants to see you take stuff out of a box. So I went ahead and unpackaged it. It was boxed very nicely. It had nice protective wrapping around it. It's also a lot heavier than I thought it would be. It's kind of fatiguing my arm a little bit. But it does seem like a nice quality product. It's got lights in it, so there is some wiring to do as well. Should be a fun project, and we should be working on that in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that video. There's another one coming on that same truck that we put a lift kit in it as well. So a couple of Dodge videos coming up super soon as well. Thanks to American Modified for sending this out. Hopefully it all goes well. I guess if you don't see the video, it didn't go well. Anyway, now back to the Fummins. Okay, so now that the intake pipe is assembled with the new pieces and clearing the air conditioning lines, which is super important to me living here in Florida because it's hot, it is now time to remake the backplate for the factory airbox. The one that I had made was absolutely beautiful. It was made out of Altum, which is a very high temperature plastic. Unfortunately, that piece was given to me, and I'm not capable of buying a new piece because that stuff is ridiculously expensive. So I have some 1/4 inch thick ABS vacuum form plastic coming, and it should be here anytime today or tomorrow. But in the meantime, I'm going to get the new template made with the proper hole and get ready to cut that out as soon as the ABS arrives. All right, so I'm going to start by taking this air cleaner off. I had it on there just mainly for spacing and for testing. I'm going to go ahead and pull it out of there so that we can get the template down in there. It's going to be super easy to change out this air filter. So this was the original template that I had made, which is still going to work for me here as far as fitting the airbox. So the outside of it's still going to get cut exactly the same. I just now have to mark it. And the pipe does let me manipulate it a little bit because of the boots. I can't mark all the way around because there's a big hole in the bottom of it, but that should be enough to know where to cut the hole. Okay, so now that I've made it over to the bench, I've made a decision that I really need to cut a new one of these first because of where that pipe's going to line up and the fact that it's into the other hole. I'm going to make a new full template without the hole. I'll put it back in the truck and remark that. And remark that spot again, and then we'll cut a fresh one. Okay, so I'm going to make the new template out of the same material that I used for this first one, which is it's just a wood-like material that came from IKEA, back of a cabinet or something. I'll be using a standard DeWalt wood cutting router. It's a DW618 if you care, and a flush cutting bit with a bearing. I have it set to go onto a table here that it's just a table that I made for doing general stuff, so I don't have to drag out the big router table. I will get this set up, and then I am going to take my old template using two-sided tape, stick it to the new wood, do a rough cut, and then I will do a final trim on it. Okay, so I was able to use the two-sided carpet tape to stick the original template to the piece of new material, and I rough cut it on the miter saw. I am now going to route this out, but there's a couple of things that come first, and that's safety. Gotta have some safety goggles. and some hearing protection. A wood router is screamingly loud. I'm in an enclosed space. Although it's a large enclosed space, it's still enclosed, and the pitch of that router is so screeching. It's really not good for your hearing. Better safe than sorry. So let's get this cut. Alright, so now that that is trimmed out, and let me tell you, I don't know what this material is. It's like a particle board, but it smells like stinky old guy when you cut it. But so that's perfect. It matches perfectly to the other one, which fit the box perfectly. So now put it back in there, get the hole marked, and we'll figure out how to cut that hole in there cleanly. Okay, so with the template cut, it's time to pry these apart, and that does get to be a little tricky sometimes. That two-sided carpet tape is pretty good stuff, and of course you don't want to damage either the old template in case you need it, nor do you want to damage the new template because you do need it. So I'm just going to kind of jam a screwdriver in there. And you can see I didn't put much tape on there. Just 3 pieces. And I always stick it to the old template first and then stick the old template to the new piece. That way it has a tendency to stick more to the old template. So when you go to take it off, all the sticky's on the old one and not on the new one. So, but now the sticky is stuck to my Band-Aid. So with that off, I now have a clean template, and we can stick it in the truck. That fits magnificently. So now my bracketry that I built for the other one is going to be in the way because the filter was below that before, and now the filter is right in the middle of that, but we'll worry about that in another step. Trying very hard not to Sharpie all over myself. And there it is. So now we'll be able to figure out exactly where that hole needs to be cut and get it cut. Okay, so I have the rough spot marked on the template where the pipe's going to go, and I have this piece of 4-inch that I cut off. So first thing that I'm going to do is take a couple of measurements and get the center line of the template made and try to pick a center line for here. Now it should be noted that this is actually more narrow on the bottom than it is on the top. It actually goes up like this. So center line, you got to kind of pick it in a couple different places at random and then figure it out from there. So it looks like 6 5/16, so we're going to go 3/8 and a little tiny bit. That'd be a 32nd, but my tape measure doesn't have those marks. And then we're going to pull across the bottom, and if I move this down I can get to about 6 inches, and there I can mark it at 3, taking a straight edge. I can now put a line right down the middle. So so that I can try to get my pipe as close to the middle as possible. Again, that thing is mounted on a rubber elbow, so it's going to allow me a little bit of movement. According to this, yeah, it's way off to one side. So now what I'm going to do is, using the pipe and my tape measure, I'm going to try and make sure that that pipe is centered. So I got 1.25 inches and 1 1/8, so we got to slide over a 1/16. So there's my 1 16". No, sorry, 1 3/16 and 1 3/16. And again, being that the material is shaped like this, it's really hard to make sure that it is exact, but as long as it is really, really, really close, there won't be any problems. And now I'm going to go around it with a pencil instead of the Sharpie, so I know which mark that I'm looking for. And now to find the center of that hole, I'm going to use my tape measure to measure. It's a 4-inch piece of pipe, so I'm going to measure right down that middle line, and that is beautifully 4 inches. And I'm just going to put a little dot in the middle, and now I should be able to drill that with a 4. It's either 4 1/4 or 4.5 inch hole saw, whatever matches the outside rim of this guy, and then I'll have a perfect template. Alright, so I did pre-pilot the hole through there with the hand drill. It's known as the hand drill because I drilled my hand, but that's a story for a different day. And for clarification, this is a 4 1/2 inch hole saw. That just happens to be the size of the lip on the air filter itself. I have my wasteboard underneath. And here we go. This old stinky man stuff doesn't drill very well either, but that's why I kept the speed a little bit low, but it does make for a clean hole. Alright, if you're not familiar with the Lennox brand mandrels for hole saws, these ones are fantastic. It just pops right out of the hole saw, you unscrew it, and then you can use it to push the plug out. I like Lennox's hole saws, their Sawzall blades, all of that stuff. Unfortunately, this is not one, but it was given to me by somebody else, so you take what you can get. But that made a nice clean hole, and it fits beautifully snug around the air filter. Alright, so just to be sure that it actually fits before we cut this into more expensive material. Looks pretty good. Let me grab the filter. It's a tight fit on the wood because I can't bevel the wood like I'm going to the finished material. There we go. So when I cut the ABS piece of this, I'm actually going to use a roundover bit to allow that filter to slide in and out of there much easier. But that is a brilliant fit. It is about the center of the airbox, which is exactly where I wanted it to be. It'll make changing the filter a lot easier, and it'll allow full airflow around the filter. So next, we're going to cut it out of ABS. I've routed this stuff one time before and it did okay, so let's hope for the best. Always keep your fingers away from the sharp parts. Now I got to decide how I'm going to do that. Oh, this is exciting. This is like stupid, but it's finished. Like the whole air intake now is finished. Oh. Alright, so as you can see, I got the ABS plastic cut and mounted to the airbox, and I am ecstatic the way that it turned out. And it works so well. That filter just drops right down in there. And the air intake pipe fits right in there. And then of course the big test. I actually think the lid fits now better than it did when it was factory. Hitting a major milestone like this feels great. Even if it's not the completion of a project, anytime that you can wrap up a significant portion or a major system, it feels good because you know you're one step closer to the completion of the project. So those milestones are important. And speaking of milestones, there was another one. I wanted to bring you all close up and personal for this. You see, that milestone is that Fun King Garage has hit 1,000 subscribers. And that 1,000 subscribers couldn't have happened without you. So from the bottom of my heart, and I truly mean this, thank you. Thank each and every one of you, or at least a handful of you. Why do I say that? Because only 4.4% of you are subscribed to the channel. That leaves 95.6% of you unsubscribed. Now 1,000 subscribers, 4.4%, is way different than if all of you would subscribe. So take that second and hit that subscribe button. But again, that's not really why I'm here. It would be truly appreciated though. I truly wanted to say thank you. Because of you watching, because of you subscribing, the channel is growing, and that's important to me. So was that the special announcement? Well, it was a special announcement, but it wasn't the special announcement. So what I wanted to tell you all is that I am working on the first ever live stream here on Fun King Garage. Now, I'm not new to live streaming. I've done tons of them on Fun King 3D, but it will be my first one here on the Garage channel. I have some things to iron out to make sure that everything is smooth and it works out. So I will keep you posted on the dates. You could also subscribe and ring the bell for notification, and YouTube will let you know those dates. Hint, hint. But again, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you. Thank you for getting me where I am. I couldn't do it without you. It would be useless to do it without you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you to those 4.4% that have subscribed. The other 95.6% of you feel it on your heart. Takes just a second, doesn't cost you anything. Okay, anyway, thank you. I can't take my tool bag because if you watched the last Fummins video, it might be missing. But it is time for me to head off to my next adventure. Thanks for watching.